Right, so I think we're in shot. I think we're in shot. The both of us for change.
Yeah.
So here we are, back at Jeff's garage, and I brought you something, Jeff.
I know.
Oh,
and do you know
this? I brought you this.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah, I found it over there.
I put it down there.
This is a swing arm from a Kawasaki 2020 Kawasaki Z900 RS, which originally was monoshocked. It is monoshocked.
And you know what I've just realised?
What?
The monoshock is at the top.
Yes, it is. It's pretty weird.
And I looked and thought, hang on a minute, that's
odd, isn't it?
Well, either that or I thought they've not put the chain on the bloody right-hand side of it.
No, this is what I liked about it, because it's got this mount here for the shock. It's then got a rocker attached to it. Then the shock itself is almost like...
Oh, it's parallel.
Yeah, no, it's almost horizontal. It goes this way.
Yeah.
It's a strange setup. And it's the same on the Z900, the standard modern Z900 and Z1000. So I thought, well, when I wanted to buy it for my project here, the idea was just chop this off, easy peasy, make some new mounts at the back here, weld them on, done. Couldn't use it because this area here is too narrow. Or rather, no, it's not too narrow. The frame is too narrow to fit this, and because of the way it's designed, you can't really narrow this anymore because this is so close to the two spars. Can't do it. More than about 5 mil, you're in trouble. So I couldn't use it. However, so I brought it for you, Jeff, because I've got an idea. You know me, I don't have ideas. I also brought you a box.
Oh, I've put it up there, the caliper.
No, put it there. Anyway, never mind.
I'm running
I brought Jeff a matching caliper, a really nice one.
It's lovely, yeah, it's the right one for that, which I put in a box just up there.
And the reason I brought it is because
we're running out of room.
Jeff has one of his many long-term projects, which may or may not ever get finished. But the frame for it is out there. In fact, we just walked past it.
Yeah, but do you know the bad news is now?
Is a Unitrak, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, and you thought the Unitrak, in fact, you know, the Unitrak frame is slightly wider at the pivot point than my old Z1000. Have you tried it? It turns out it's not.
It will fit in between the frame perfectly.
Oh, there you are.
Well, it's a 17, so what you'd have to do is make some top hats.
Oh yeah.
To sleeve it, yeah. So that will go between, no problem.
I am surprised. I didn't think it would.
Well, when that was out, what I did with it, when I cut the bottom mount out, you can cut it. You widen it, put a piece of 20mm bar, warm the frame.
Okay, that's
anyway, so that's why it goes in.
Yes, so it goes in. What's the bad news then? What's the bad news?
The bad news is... Well, the shock
mount, yeah?
Yeah, because for that, the way the brackets are welded on, it's got to go under there.
Right.
Which means you need a shocky mount. And it's probably double the width of that goes.
And
we had one.
Did we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch it.
I give it away.
There you go. Well,
when Steve come up, I give him the ZX 750 swinging arm, and it had the bracket on. I could have cut it off and had it welded on there.
Well, there's always a way.
So
I've got a different idea.
It means now trying to work out how would you.
Well, it's all right. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there is a way. So let me take my camera and that and the frame outside again. Where's more room? And we'll go through the issues, because I think it can be done. Right, okay. Right, so here we are, back in Jeff's back garden. All the washing is hanging up nearby, and hopefully it won't affect the camera. And so here's the frame. You were saying it's from a GPZ 1100
Unitrak, yeah.
Early 80s.
No, it's I think it's 84.
84,
84, yeah.
And you've chopped off the whole back end.
It's on an is it A-Reg?
Yeah, 83, 84. 83, 84. Anyway.
It could be, I think it's 84. I'd have to go and check the log.
So this is, as usual with you, it's been modified.
It does, the thing is, when I got the bike, it was absolutely... The money you'd spend on it to put... I mean, I don't think they're worth that much original anyway.
They are starting to go up a little bit now, but when you got it, it wasn't. It was like a £2 bike.
It was 20 years ago.
Yes. They weren't worth much then.
And a lot of the stuff, it would have cost you more to put it back to standard than what it was worth.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
So you've chopped off the back end. This mount here...
it originally had basically a
whole seat.
Yeah. And these aren't original.
Right, so this is different.
Yeah.
This is all different.
Yeah, it's
Now, I've seen this bike before, a long time ago, and you machined up some really nice kind of billet alloy mount here for the Unitrak.
For the shock absorber,
but that's now somewhere else, that's in a loft. You've also said you've welded that in, you've also welded this area.
Yeah, there for the bottom arms.
Right.
They're not finished welding yet, there's still a bit more to do. But the thing is, it won't, obviously.
Right, but all this is made for
a suit.
Something like a ZX.
The ZXR 750 900 setup,
900, okay.
Well, I think they're both the same.
Now, one thing, very similar.
They're all in the ballpark.
Now, one thing I've noticed that I've not seen before, never noticed before, is that on this side of the frame, spin it around for you guys. Here.
Oh yeah, clamps. Yeah.
That's a clamp.
Yeah.
I believe that's a clamp for the swing arm pivot to go through.
The only one.
I've never seen that before.
It's the only one Kawasaki frame or
like that.
Yeah.
Really weird.
There's 2 high tensile bolts. Yes. So you bolt everything up and then
tighten that up. Wow, that's unusual. Now I couldn't use that because this swing arm was too wide at this end. But you were saying a Unitrak swing arm, Unitrak frame's wider anyway.
It's wider than standard. I think it's got another 10 mil.
That's loads, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in addition to that, you've also widened this frame as well.
Yeah.
You said you warmed it up somewhere, and
I think I warmed it up here, and I put a piece of threaded bar between it.
Yeah, and just
wound it out and let it cool.
Okay, so this is one of your mini projects. So I brought you this hoping it might help you move on a bit.
Well, it will,
and it will because. Well, you just got to. It will now fit without. That's not far off, is it?
It's virtually
perfect.
If you make some top hats in
that is straight in, isn't it?
It's straight in.
Yeah, because obviously that's a 20 mil pivot, but you can make top hats to take up the difference. But in terms of width, that's spot on.
Yeah. And
so you were saying if you move it out again. So you were saying you've actually welded these mounts here for a ZXR 750s.
Yeah.
But they're actually a completely different layout to this. The shot goes up and down.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking, first of all, you were talking about some time ago forgetting about all of this and instead converting it to twin shock.
Yeah. These that have to come off. Well, they're only tacked on.
Yeah, they're tacked on.
They're only tacked in, so they all that come out. You could soon take them off.
I mean, you could leave that on because it's a.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that stays on because that's your rear engine.
Oh right, rear engine mount.
Yeah, that's for your plate.
So the option is build a sub frame here for the seat.
We could come off with a tube.
Yeah, like this.
These would have to come off here. We'd have to bring the tube off.
Yeah.
I have actually got some shock absorber mounts. That, in fact, you know where they come from?
Go on.
Remember your old frame off the drag bike that was all cut off?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, they were out of that, and I cleaned them, but I think one's just got a bit of a scrape on it. Anyway, but
there goes an airplane.
You put a dome nut on.
Yeah. So that's an option. So we'll just pause a sec because there's a big EasyJet 747 over there going over the.
It's going in for speak.
Yeah, going into the airport. So what I thought about this particular rather nice aluminium swing arm is it's only got this small boss here that makes it into a monoshock swing arm. It doesn't have a huge sort of brackets and things, so it's easy to chop off and forget about it, and then weld on here a couple of mounts. But if it was me, and you're trying to build something cool, hang on, my knee's gone again. I would indeed chop that off and go for a twin shock affair. That's what you wanted to do. First of all, that's what you really want.
It was.
Because monoshocks are tricky to get right, aren't they, to get the angles right, and with that, if you want to use this, which I think you should do, then you can't really run a standard setup because the shot would be about here where the engine is.
I'd have to machine some
machine them off.
Mounts up
together
and then
get our mate Jeff welded to get them welded on, not a problem. Well, you've made those mounts before, haven't you? I have seen you make some before. Some shop mounts.
I mean,
yeah, but it's in good nick. It's in. I mean, obviously, it won't be good nick when we chopped it all to bits, but
like you said, it's
got no dents. The bearings are fine on it.
Let me wiggle in there now.
Yeah, and that is actually a perfect fit. In fact, let me move the camera, and I'll show you guys how perfect that is.
I didn't just bend it because it was warmed. You warm it all cherry red, and then it settles.
Yeah, right.
And then you bolt it, and it all settles.
Right. So we've moved the camera, and hopefully you can see how perfect that fits in here. It's absolutely spot on. It's about maybe 2 or 3 mil clearance, which you need to put a dust cover on both ends. Perfect. So if you imagine that's chopped off. We've made, or Jeff's made, a brand new rear part of the frame. Twin shocks, weld on, 2 mats on the bottom. You've got to find some twin shocks, but I think they're easier to find than a really nice suitable. We'll find you some. We'll find you some.
I thought we had some.
You have got some.
We have got some.
You've got some that I gave you, but I'm sure you can find some better ones if needed.
No, I think they'll.
Yeah. Now, in terms of that, then, you've got some wheels, haven't you? Because you've got the wheels.
I've got the wheels. Yeah.
Some brand new tyres that I gave you for your birthday, and they're off an early. Yeah, and they're off an early R1, and the gold. So I don't know what size bearings would they take. Yeah, you'll be all right because the rear one I think is 20. Because it is
right. Yeah,
because it came
the only
out.
The only thing I've got. I wanted to go and check was the disc diameter to make sure it fits that caliper.
Yeah.
But then you'll find we can't get.
Yeah, we've had this problem before.
We might run into a problem where you can't get a disc that's that bolt fitting that's the right diameter. And
you've got an awful lot of engine parts, but I'm not quite sure.
Well, the engine, what I thought looked cool was that 1500cc. But then you're thinking to yourself, is it worth putting that on? Are you going to lose reliability?
Yes, I've got a 14, and I think that's a bit too much.
I'm making a cup of tea.
That sounds fantastic.
Splendid, right?
Almost 3 o'clock. Oh no, I will take tea. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. It's the best part of the day.
Best part of the day. Tea and biscuits. Well, tea for me. No biscuits for me. Come and kneel there, so that we're facing the camera. Otherwise, we won't hear you what you're saying.
Ah, right.
Right. So you kneel down there.
Right.
Kneel down there.
I don't want to damage it. There's lots of little
weeds.
No, little grubs and bugs.
I think they're quite safe. Right. So we're now facing the camera, which is good.
Yeah.
So you're saying you've got a Zephyr 1100 tank to go on here.
I could go and get that.
Look at that, but it's had a bit of a life, hasn't it? Let's put it that way.
It's usable, but
well, is it? I thought you cut the bottom out.
No, I've cut. Let me go and grab it.
Go and get it.
Let me go and grab it.
And we can see it on the bike.
You'll hear this yelp in a minute as I fall down.
No, you won't. I'll help you. Right, so here we have the Zephyr 1100 tank. It's seen better days. It's a big old tank, actually. It's a big old tank.
It's quite a nice tank. It's not like the original.
Yeah. It's much wider.
It is quite a nice looking.
It is, but it does have a couple of issues. First of all, it's got a dent on this side.
Oh well, that's
is nothing. But it's also got an issue because underneath
it's had 2 mounts there, and it was hitting the frame.
Yeah, you've had to cut away.
I've had to literally
grind it all out.
Well, I bet I melted them out.
Yeah, that looks a bit sad. So you have to get some new pieces made.
Well, it wants trimming all back and all re-welding.
It's a lot of work,
but the trouble is, if you got one of your tanks, the frame, what they've done with it, they've come out wide to give it the Unitrak tanks.
Do you think so? I think they're really nice. I like Unitrak tanks.
No.
And seat is also really nice.
Yeah. See, but even in here now, where you've got them 2 original mounts, you never get them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem is because the frame's so wide, a standard Z1 tank wouldn't fit on there.
Yeah.
So maybe using something like this and modifying it to fit might be good.
You'd end up modifying.
Yeah. So that's that. Oh, sun's come out now.
See, you're very. I don't know if it was sat there now.
What, it's sitting too far?
Yeah.
It needs to sit like there.
No, that's too far back because you've got a big gap here.
All right. Well.
Manuel, you got to watch the.
Yeah. You can't go much more than that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Tea's ready. Right. I think we'll have a tea break, Jeff.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and we'll have a through wheel and so on. And what else you've got for the bike? And I'll suggest some options for you. Okay. Right. Okay. I've got some teas. That's fine. And Jeff's gone and found this fuel tank, which I think
I bought it last year.
Is from a Kawasaki Z750 twin.
B1 twin. B1 twin. Not 4.
And it looks very similar to a Z1 tank, to be honest.
And a Z6, very similar.
Yeah.
There's very little.
The big problem with it is if I take it off here now,
you can see it's
the round. You can see a problem. It's got a big dent in it here where the tank badge goes. That's inside. It's not too bad.
To be honest, it's
It
better
doesn't
than I
look rusty.
thought.
Yeah, it's not bad. That
It's better than I thought.
It's not too rusty. I wonder if this is coming from America.
It is. It's one of the.
Yeah, because they're bringing in so much stuff now from the States.
It looks in.
And luckily, they've not gone through 50 years of English weather, so they're not so rusted out as a lot of the parts are that we get here. So I'm not sure how you're going to mount that.
Well,
the problem is, of course, that the
you can see
Z750 frame is a lot narrower than this frame, so
Yeah.
it won't sit down.
your problem really, it's these two tubes. They're just too wide.
Yeah. So comparing, say, a Z1, Z9, Z50 with this, what we've got is this. These two outer tubes here are
They really need
much
to
wider.
run more or less parallel
Right.
with that to give
Well,
you
obviously, with that tank that you've cut out the insides of,
that.
you didn't do that. So you decided to cut that rather than this.
Well, this was done first. I just got that just to see what.
All right.
You know, it was used as a donor thing just to see.
So right now, is your preferred option to go with that and get it modified, get it welded up, or is it to cut out these two outer rails from the frame and get them narrowed in to be more like a?
I think if you're going to do it, I think you're always looking at the options to fit that.
Yeah, but as I said,
that's a love.
I mean, let's just tilt this a little bit.
I mean, that's a nice tank, but
Yeah.
they're just so classic. Them tanks.
Yeah. So you just see here, we've got this curve. It goes out and then goes in again. Whereas if you just did it straight from there and went it straight back here, I'm not sure how far in you'd have to go.
You see, that comes out at an angle
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So you're basically going to be removing
All that.
and it's
all the bracing as well.
It's
a lot of work.
A lot of work.
So for me, if it was my choice, which isn't, I would stick either that or that, and I'd modify these things to see.
Yeah.
That's
To be honest, you could probably get. No,
you'd have to cut out. What you'd have to do
you
is
virtually.
cut out the whole of that underside.
You don't want to be doing that.
Well-
you not only that, you're losing fuel volume.
Well,
So
who cares about that? So well, that one's big.
well, you
That
do
tank's
because
huge.
if you put going bigger bottle with
Well-
and tuning it up,
Okay, so all that's up in the air.
that's probably your best bet.
So your best bet is to get that modified. You've already cut it up. You've already put holes in it, so you're halfway there.
yeah.
You've got a massive. It's actually a lot bigger than a Z1 tank. It's a lot wider.
It's a bit too far forward there,
Yeah.
but yeah. Well, I can put that on that green box.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
And then
Right, we'll go and lift this up on a green box, and then we can see it all coming together. Of course, it's just parts for the time being. Whether this ever gets finished, who knows? But it's always fun to consider things and try out different ideas.
too many projects and not enough money to spend on them all.
I know. So these wheels are from an early R1. They were on the Mark II, my Mark II project that I bought off your Les. So those wheels have brand new tyres. They've all been very, very nicely powder coated gold at Triple S. So yeah, that was your birthday present, by the way.
Excellent.
Excellent. So you've now found some use for them. You also got the front end. You've got some billet yokes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what other forks you've got for it. Have you got?
They're off a well.
I've got some 50. I've got some 41 mil.
I've got that ZX12, the upside downies, but they don't. If you was going to be Street Fighter in monoshock and all that, they'd look all right.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is try and capture more of a 70s Z look,
Yes.
which that's not too bad.
Yeah. Nice,
The other idea was, like, I always think they look cool with them, like a bit of an
well,
brace. But
that's where my experiment comes in, because I've got a meter of box section that will work with this, and I've also got 2 kilos of bismuth sitting there that we need to try and melt, pour into this stuff and try and melt. Because I was going to do that with the XJR, but I've been convinced by various people, including myself, saying nah, it would be too much, too chunky monkey for an old Z. But I reckon it might look good on this because it's more chunky. You've got this wide tank and it's more modern looking. This, this kind of thing. You've even got this brace here already that you can mount a cross brace through. Right. So Jeff's dug out his pan-European fork legs.
they're highly modified.
Highly modified. So
Yeah.
let's see then. What have you done with them?
Well,
they're quite chunky, aren't they? Like, what are these?
They're
Like
43s.
43 mil? Okay.
But they're very...
It's looking good nick, actually, isn't it?
The one has had a slight bend on it,
Oh,
and I
okay.
straightened it, but there's a tiny,
yeah.
tiny little mark. Oh, don't lift it. They're all dismantled at the minute.
Okay, I shouldn't have done that.
Now, one is all... Hang on, that's the left-hand one, yeah. Yeah. One had a flat on it. I've actually used the right-hand leg to put on the left-hand because they have a funny anti-locking brake.
Yes.
They're ugly, so I've used it. It's
two less.
It's the original left-hand stanchion.
Yes.
But it's got a right hand. I found on eBay.
Oh, right, you got two
a
less.
fork leg with a right hand one.
Right, so you got two left lowers.
No, it's two right lowers.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Two right hand lowers.
So these are 40 odd mil.
The beauty is with the caliper brackets.
Yeah.
They're identical.
Right.
You know, each side, which is great. They're machined off, so when they're on, well, they're a bit longer than they should be there.
Yeah, plenty long enough.
They're plenty long enough.
Yeah.
I've machined all the lugs off. The only trouble is there was a scrape on one there. It's still.
You paint them black.
But no, I want to paint them silver.
Okay, but you can still fill that.
Yeah.
Liquid metal, fill it, rub it down, paint it silver.
I filed a disc clearance one in, and
okay.
I put a flat. There's still a lot of work to
you got some
rubbing and polishing. Yeah.
You got some milling done there. To put a little slight flat on it for the discs.
Yeah.
So what were the wheels you were going to use for this with them?
Well, originally I was going to use them ZZR wheels.
Oh,
and then you went, ugh.
No, they're horrible.
But they are hot. They may be, but
well, you got them, haven't you?
They're cheap. Well, no, give them.
They've all gone. They've all gone to Lancaster.
Yeah.
They've all been chucked out and recycled to Lancaster to our new friend. Okay, fine. Well, you got them.
No offence, Steve, if he's going to watch this, but I hope you're having luck getting
rid of them. You've not put me in landfill yet. Yeah, so you got
well, I'm going to weigh me.
Pair of wheels with tyres. I mean, tyres are like 250 quid a pair, so they're brand new.
The only thing I'd like though on that is a polished rim.
Very dated, lad. Very dated.
No,
very dated. I know.
There is one thing though that I will agree on. If it was my Astrolite, gold Astrolite for a Honda, I don't want to sell it. It looked nice all gold, but then Astrolites are one of the most
general
beautiful.
Consensus online is that polished rims are now dated. And think about your health, lad. Think about your health. You're not getting younger. If it was polished, you've got to spend hours and hours every other day polishing it. It's painted. It's easy. You just wash it
If
down.
you can't sit there and polish and do a bit of thingy on your bike, well. Anyway, let's
say it now.
Yeah, so
in 5 years' time, you'll be 65 years old.
Well,
so,
them are all nicely machined. I've actually started doing a fork brace.
Right.
I've got 43 mil Yokes.
A good choice. Yeah.
And the beauty is with these,
actually good. The tops are very nice condition.
They're all.
These are fine. You said you got a bend in it somewhere.
Yeah, you can just feel that one straighten it, and it's got a tiny, tiny mark there.
It's like a crease in it.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can turn that to the inside.
It's straight apart from that.
I mean,
it's obviously where
it's had a slight bend in it.
It's where the yoke was.
Yeah, and I've straightened it.
It's only strong enough. I mean, personally, I'd change it, but I know you.
I think, to be honest, it's probably splitting out. For this, once in fact, the billet yokes cover that.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, because they're thicker.
So where are you? Are they going to be like really thick?
They're up on the
shelf somewhere. All right, we'll come and see that another day.
We could spend a day here dragging everything out and doing it all.
Yes.
But, so
Jeff's shed is like a bit of a what we call it, a hoarder's paradise.
They will sit down a bit because the screws are still on there. Everything's on there. So
okay, so these will be silver, painted silver. You got your thick billet yokes to go on it. You got your front wheel. Has the front wheel got discs on it? I can't remember now. Does it have discs? Not it has.
I don't think it has, but I think I've got a...
Well, they're for an R1. We can get some discs.
I can make some brackets up to suit that. You can always modify them because I've got them Kawasaki float calipers.
Can I put some? Well, yeah. I mean,
so I don't mind making...
Jeff can make adapter plates to mount pretty much anything to anything.
Mount it. See, a couple of little things like that look old school stuff. I don't mind.
All right.
But like you say, they're very simple fork leg, and see, I didn't want ones, you know, where you get them all with anodised bits on. It starts looking too technical. That's why I just that there is very. It's basically probably what you'd have found like on a 1970s, early 80s sort of a fork leg. Yeah.
No, 43 mil is the perfect size for right wheel, please.
That one has been straightened, but like you say, if you run your feet, you can feel a tiny little. But the chrome is in.
Yeah,
they're in.
It's just a bit, it's been creased slightly. Right, so you're now decided then, hopefully, you're going to sort out this underside of the tank at some point. You're going to make yourself,
I can weld them in.
yeah, you can make yourself a rear frame structure.
Yeah, it'll have to go on the jig because obviously.
Oh, you can even bolt it. Can you put a bolt on? You got these two mounts here.
I think if you were going to do it now, I'd take these off and bring the tubes off.
Okay.
And hopefully, where the curve is there, it's probably just them lugs have worked out perfect because they're threaded. So I can make me things.
Resets, yeah.
I think it would be ideal if we just profile the tube just to come off, just above that.
Yeah.
Just off.
Yeah.
To just come.
Yeah. Yeah.
To meet the.
Now, so engine-wise then, so we've sorted out your bike, we've sorted out your running chassis.
It's all there.
It's all there.
Yeah.
What about, you're saying you've got a 1500cc engine bits. It seems to me to be a bit much for a road bike or just a show bike.
I didn't know whether to nick the 1500 block and put it on the spares bike.
Yeah, well,
it's done.
It's done well.
Yeah, trouble is with the road bike, it's doing a lot many. If anything goes wrong with it, it's pistons and everything. It's where do you get them from?
Well, yeah.
But
I think for this bike, for your...
I think if you just get it out to about
for your budget,
1100,
go
just,
pretty standard.
I've got standard blocks and pistons, and
what, used pistons or new pistons?
well, I've actually got a set of pistons out of an 1100 shafter.
Okay.
And I've got a block,
Yeah.
but it's got some fin damage on it.
You can get a pair, but that's another...
But the piston, the block and everything.
Tell you what, you can get a block for 50 quid. 1100 blocks must be dirt cheap because no one wants
They're
them.
They're not.
Oh, I bet I can find
You have a look out there. They're not.
What, off a shaft drive?
You'll pay over £100 plus for a set of barrels. Even a barrel without.
So have you got a bottom end?
Yeah, I've got the bottom end crank. That's where I can't use them. Oh, hang on.
What have you got?
It's a Unitrak crank, isn't it? Because it's a Unitrak motor. So the only way I could put the 1100 shafter pistons in is if I use the a crank out of the B1 or B2, which has got the 17mm gudgeon pin rod end.
Yes.
Dilly doofers.
Yes. Small ends.
That's a technical term, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Dilly doofers.
Dilly doofers.
Right. So that's still an open question. But I reckon it doesn't matter because you can still spend 6 months on this just to sort out the back end, shocks, your front end, get it onto wheels.
See, I've not even. It's like a back end. Because you don't want so much square with that sort of tank.
No.
So it's got to have something with a bit more. You want something a bit more curvy.
Just fit a Z1 back end.
And what looks nice is that extended, that fiberglass seat unit you got off that we widened and painted. That looks nice.
Z1 ducktail that I got from that place up near Blackpool. That we cut in half. Fiberglass one.
Yeah, down the middle.
That we cut in half.
That's the one.
That was like £30.
That's yeah.
Whereas if you buy a proper one from Japan, which I have done.
Yeah, but it's plastic, isn't it?
Yes. They're like ABS, which is a lot nicer.
Yeah.
It's got a perfect replica. They're like £90. So luckily I've got a use now for that particular ducktail. It's going to go on the Z1000A1. See? So it's all been carefully thought about. So there you go, Jeff. I've solved your problem for you. You've now got a new project. Get it on its wheels.
That would actually,
If you can have a motor in it, then having something that long is not an issue. You'll just stop you from doing wheelies. And what I'd do is I'd actually I would genuinely fit a ducktail to it because it's a Z1 look.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic.
Oh yeah,
ducktail.
that's
I
what I'm
can get
saying.
you one of them. I hope to find a guy again. Where is he? He's on the Fly Coast. 30 quid it was. Fiberglass. You can cut it in half if you want. Do what you want with it. Make it fit.
See,
there you go.
At the end of the day, I mean the two tubes, because they'll probably have to have a bit of a bend coming in. The first things would be to do, because it'd be to get two shocky mounts done and welded on.
Well, standard size is 10mm, isn't it, these days?
At the bottom, is it 10?
Yeah. the Z,
Yeah, because you're not.
ZXRs and,
Yeah.
and the XJRs, they're all 10.
See, they're going to have to overhang a little bit.
Yeah.
And probably.
Well, you can make it.
Well, if you made it, you'd have to so that Jeff could probably.
Yeah, you can profile it down.
Yeah, because if it comes out too far, unless he then can get away.
Because the top of the swing arm is flat here, but it's quite narrow. Then the sides are like this. So if you make your shot mounts, it can't be flat. It's going to have to follow the profile, and then you can.
But I want to make the inside at least. You want at least ½ inch, 5/8.
Oh, yeah.
To get a thread in, so you don't have to be
Putting
putting
behind
it
it.
up.
Yeah.
And obviously we need to see where chain clearance and sprocket and everything.
Well, it's lots of.
Yeah.
I mean, this has to go that way a bit because it's now touching. There's a little tab here on the inside of a swing arm where the rear brake caliper mount engages with to hold it in place.
Yeah.
So it's got to be like that. See there?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was just going to slot that thingy on there.
it's all dirty. Yeah, it's all dirty. It's all dusty. I don't know. So there's an idea. The engine is still open to change, but you've got a fair bit of options there.